Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is a slightly different angle I'm taking on things. I recently done a very interesting podcast with Shannon Donoghue, who was very involved with the SNP at a local level and her mother at a national level. And she done a sort of whistleblower podcast with me where we spoke about lots of things, but particularly I went to speak to her about one topic, and that was kind of strange things that were happening during the campaign. But the video went down well. But what I've decided to do now is break it into little sections so that people who are interested in one of the sections in it can view the video as a smaller chunk size viewing session, and they don't have to spend over an hour on the full thing. So enjoy the video.
On a local level, what I would say is, for me, there was like a small group of members, to maybe 10 to 15 locally, who their behaviour was appalling in terms of very personal attacks towards my mum running and the kind of internal selection processes, etc. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And headquarters never done anything about it. So it was always kind of, you were banging your head off a brick wall continually. You were trying to stay in the party to fix what was broken inside, but you were getting absolutely nowhere doing so.
So back to what you're saying there about your mum, internal selection process, was she involved in the selection of candidates, or the fact that she was getting?
No, so when she ran for, she was obviously an MP from 2015. She lost her seat in 2017. She then ran again in 2019. And then that was an internal selection process, because obviously somebody else had put their name forward at that time to run, so that went to the members to vote who their candidate was going to be, basically. And I can only describe that internal selection process as absolutely vile. The tactics and the behaviour and the smearing would be something you would expect from your opposition, not something that you would expect from inside your own party.
And this is before the campaign's actually started. This is just
just to see who's going to stand. Yeah. I mean, there was like this group of members were going round all the other members and having, because obviously other members have now came and since spoke to us and told us what was being said and whatnot. They would go for coffee and say stuff and just put wee things in people's heads and whatever. And the hustings, there was quite a few hustings happened that selection process, and it was absolutely vile.
And was your mum successful in that?
No.
Right,
no.
So that's right.
It was somebody else that got selected to then became the MP.
This is just opinion, obviously, because we can't talk factually on this, but do you feel that at that point there was maybe people further up the chain that were trying to decide what was happening at local level, or what was causing the...
No, but I think further up the chain they were completely turning a blind eye to it. I think my mum has always been, a lot of people, this group of people like to question her integrity, which I find quite funny, actually, because my mum's probably one of the most, like, she's a person with integrity. She has got the morals, and she doesn't budge on her morals. She's quite firm with her morals. And my mum can't be bought and she can't be sold. And she can't be... She'll not remain silent for something just for a cause if it's not right. And I think higher up, in terms of when she was an MP and stuff like that, I think people seen that in her. And I genuinely do think that she was always seen as a bit of a threat, in terms of she wouldn't just be silent if there was something going on.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think it's easy for me to give an opinion on that as an outsider of the SNP and somebody who evidently doesn't like them or never have been a fan, I've felt that it was a party that if you didn't toe the party line, then you weren't wanted. And I've seen that from the outside.
Very much so. Yeah. Very much so.
So when you start here...
But it didn't always be like that. And, I go back to the kind of, when I first started within the SNP, and actually it sounds really quite cheesy, but a bit cringe. But I remember my mum's campaign in 2015 when we were campaigning to get her elected as an MP. That campaign is one of the most memorable campaigns ever. Like, I had some of the best times of my life in that campaign. Just the atmosphere, the buzz about it all. It was like one big. It was like your friends and family, and it was actually just really, really nice. It was a really nice environment to be in. I really enjoyed that campaign. Um, and just I think slowly that just completely changed. It just changed.
So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. And I think what it done for me, I don't think I'm surprised by what was discussed on the video, but I think it's heartening to have things that I've been concerned about for a long time about how this party runs to be confirmed by someone with far better knowledge than me and someone who's been involved in the party in a very heavy manner between herself, her mother, and indeed her partner. So, that was my reason for doing it. It just cemented some of the things I'd been saying for the last maybe 6 months on these videos about the sort of corruption that goes on and the sort of unethical way they go about their business. And that's highlighted very much so in the video you've just watched. And as Shannon was saying, these things were at a local level, but it seemed that the party higher up were just want to ignore them and just make them go away. And she spoke to me about similar situations that her mother witnessed higher up at national level from the party. So the whole thing is just a bit rotten, to be honest with you. And it's, as I say, it's just comforting to see someone who's a nationalist, obvious nationalist, and far more insight into the party than me telling people, because being such a visual unionist, I don't hide that. When I say things about the party, it's very easy for people to, just say, that's just Craig, the unionist talking. Now, I do know, because I've seen it already, some people are trying to say what Shannon's telling us is incorrect, but it's assured everything that Shannon covered before we put it on to film, I was shown proof to back up every single claim she made. Because I couldn't make us easy targets, because being an ex-SNP person on one side of the camera and a unionist in the other, it'd be easy to target us, and I didn't want to get myself caught out in, platforming stuff that may have been lies. So for about half an hour before we hit the record button, Shannon went over everything in her big massive pile of evidence against him. She was showing me records from that she'd obtained from the Electoral Commission, for example. She was showing me things that were publicly available on WhatsApp for fundraising events that didn't show up in accounts, and all this stuff that she'd been on to tell me. So I knew the stuff was strong. So if anybody wanted to come up and try and say there were fallacies, I could fully protect me, her, and my channel, to be perfectly honest with you. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll do a wee series of these just with clips from Shannon's long forum podcast, and I'll give a wee bit of commentary and maybe a wee bit of background on some of the things that we spoke about that we didn't get into too much detail, because we were there to talk about one particular aspect and we get drawn into many. So I'll do probably 3 of these, maybe 4 at a push, just further explaining the Shannon Donoghue podcast. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing, and most importantly of all, unless you're the SNP or any of the small dwindling number of cult members they still have, everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.